Reminder everyone to please turn your cell phones to vibrate or off. Michael, I don't know if I'm coming through. Am I? Okay. The regular meeting of the Desert Community College District Board of Trustees is called to order. Can we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Trustee Wilson, will you lead us today, please?
Absolutely. With your hand over heart, please begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you for the honor.
President Kinnaman, will you please call the roll?
Certainly. Trustee Wilson.
Here.
Trustee Sanchez.
Present.
Trustee Stefan.
Present.
Trustee Broughton.
Present.
Trustee O'Neill.
Present. Thank you, sir.
Thank
Student Trustee Campbell will be late, I assume? Or is he at that conference?
But he hasn't told me that.
Okay, our parliamentarian today is also at, I think, the same conference. And so we will be trying to do our best job without him being here. So, all right. Board meeting agenda. Pursuant to Government Code Section 54954.2B2, the board may take actions on items of business not appearing on the posted agenda upon a determination by a 2/3 vote of the board, or if less than 2/3 of the members are present, a unanimous vote of those present. That there is a need to take immediate action, and that the need for the action came to the attention of the local agency subsequent to the agenda being posted as specified. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions to the agenda of October 18th, 2013? Hearing none. If there are no changes, the agenda stands confirmed. And we will now recess into closed session, and we will be back here at 10:30. Thank you.
Send me, I know you. Send me.
Ms. Fulton,
That's fine.
should we wait? Should we
Let's begin.
begin? All right. Excuse me. We're back into open session, and we have nothing to report at this time from closed session. That takes us to public comments. Persons who wish to speak to the board on any item may do so at this time. There is a time limit of 3 minutes per person and 15 minutes per topic, unless further time is granted by the board. Your comments will be timed, and you will be asked to stop speaking when the timer sounds, and the timer is visual and auditory. Our new timer is in the repair shop already, so hopefully next month we'll have our new timer in place. All right, are there any requests to speak to the board today? All right. Reading of proclamations. Dr. Kinnaman, are you going to?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Do I have a cheat sheet?
There we go. Yes, it's green.
The green one.
All right, I'm sorry.
Success.
Okay, the first reading we have is from one of our international students. It's a proclamation on International Education Week, and I don't.
I don't see why.
Okay.
It might be here.
All right. Then is our Phi Theta Kappa student here? All right, good. So we've got Jimmy Maynard. Is that correct, Jimmy? Okay, great. Glad you could be here. If you could please.
Jimmy, come up to take a seat and pull the microphone so you can be heard, please, sir.
Hello? Okay. Phi Theta Kappa Week. Whereas Phi Theta Kappa was founded in 1918 as an honorary society for students at two-year colleges, and whereas the American Association of Community Colleges recognizes Phi Theta Kappa as the official honor society for two-year colleges in 1929, and whereas participation in Phi Theta Kappa has grown to over 2 million members in over 1,250 charters worldwide, whereas the Beta Rho Iota chapter of Phi Theta Kappa at College of the Desert is in the inaugural stages, has already well over 500 members, whereas the week of November 22nd to the 18th to the 22nd, 2013 is recognized as National Phi Theta Kappa Week. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Board of Trustees of College of the Trustees at Desert Community Colleges District is pleased to recognize November 18th to the 22nd as Phi Theta Kappa Week at College of the Desert.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I just had a question. Are there going to be any activities that are going to be happening during?
I don't know, Jimmy, do you know if there are any activities for Phi Beta Kappa Week?
None that I know of yet. It
Okay.
was kind of last minute I was told about this.
Sorry, but you did a good job. Thank you.
But
Sorry, didn't mean to
I promise next time will be better.
All right, thank you very much.
Better read.
Thank you.
And then I see our international student, I believe, is it Leah? Laya? If you could come forward, please. Thank you.
Hello, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning.
Welcome.
Can I start right now?
Yes, please.
Whereas the first International Education Week was first held in 2000 and was a joint initiative of the U.S. Departments of State and Education. And whereas today, International Education Week is celebrated in more than 100 countries worldwide and is an opportunity to celebrate the benefits of international education and exchange worldwide. Whereas exchanges are critical to developing mutual understanding and respect, building leadership abroad, fostering an appreciation for the U.S., and investing in the future relationship between Americans and people around the world. And now therefore be it proclaimed that the Desert Community College District Board of Trustees, faculty, staff, and students recognize and appreciate the many benefits of international education, and be it further proclaimed that the Board of Trustees of the Desert Community College District is pleased to acknowledge the week of November 12th to 16th, 2013 as International Education Week. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
And I have the privilege of doing the next one. This is for National Native American Heritage Month. Whereas our nation is inextricably linked to the histories of the Native Americans who first inhabited this great land, and whereas their history speaks to us through the names of our cities, lakes, and rivers, the food on our tables, the magnificent ruins of ancient communities, and whereas they have great pride in their cultural, spiritual, linguistic, and kinship bonds, now therefore be it proclaimed that the Desert Community College District Board of Trustees, faculty, staff, and students recognize and appreciate the many lasting contributions of Native Americans, and be it further proclaimed that the Board of Trustees of the Desert Community College District is pleased to acknowledge the month of November as National Native American Heritage Month.
Thank you, Dr. Kinnaman. Very good job. All right. Moving on. Thank you all very much. We will be voting on these proclamations later in the agenda. Okay, thank you. We are into reports. ASCOD, Association of Students. Eleanor? Okay. COD Foundation, Jim Hummer, you're up earlier this agenda, Jim.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
There are times at the foundation we wonder whether or not we actually are progressing and doing something, and you get frustrated and you wonder, you don't hear anything, and then all of a sudden we have a really good week. I'd like to report on that week. We had the Singer Family Trust that came in with $200,000. Cardenas Markets made a $45,000 donation for scholarships. Edison International came in with a $25,000 for scholarships in the STEM program. We have a donor that's going to re-up for a $50,000 scholarship right now for nursing. Charles Townsend came in with a $25,000 scholarship that we're finalizing the final paperwork. And then we have another donor who's doing a planned gift that basically College of the Desert will be the sole beneficiary of the trust. So we've actually, you know, those are the kind of days that you really feel like you're kind of progressing and doing something. Then the other day, staff came in to give me an update on both the chili cook-off and stepping out for COD, and we're ahead of where we were last year. We haven't even really started the marketing yet, which will be starting here very shortly on both. But we're over about $40,000 on the chili cook-off in terms of revenues, and on stepping out, we're at $210,000. And this is before we've even had a real chance to put the marketing into effect. So far, it's coming out to be a pretty good start of the season. Let's hope it, knock on wood, that it stays that way. I did put on your desk a copy of the Women of Distinction invitation, where we're hopefully will be an annual event. The Academic Angels are honoring Joan Busick, Birgit Moeller, Peggy Cravens, Jean Hill, Kate Spates, and Coetta Barker in memoriam. I really think that the Academic Angels are doing a great job with this. And like I said, I hope it becomes an annual event because we have so many women that have dedicated their time and their talent and their wealth to the college. And so I think this is a real good step in the right direction, and hopefully it'll continue on every year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. It's a wonderful event. Thank you. Academic Senate, Douglas Redmond. Good morning, Douglas.
Good morning. You have to love this weather. Different things are going on. We had another meeting of Meet the Faculty, where the students and the faculty get together. We had a forum on enrollment management, which was very informative, and we're working to building the next flex calendar. Sabbaticals. First of all, again, Dr. Kinnaman and the board, thank you very much for granting the sabbaticals. That's a huge morale booster. October 15th was the deadline for getting in sabbatical requests for the next year and going through the process. And I don't have a count of how many, but there were sabbaticals submitted. So it's exciting to work through that process and to look forward to the possibility of those being awarded. So thank you again. I'd just like to report that the Senate, especially in my position as president, has a strong working relationship with the president and his cabinet. I don't, when I go into the meetings with Dr. Kinnaman, we're not disagreeing on where we need to go, and that's refreshing, and I appreciate that. There's some exciting things we're trying to plan, and a lot of things are coming into place, which is excellent. We're really looking forward to do some community building events, which would involve everyone, and some things like that are exciting. There are issues. Dual enrollment is one where, there are some questions and some issues, and we're educating faculty, and I think we'll get there and we'll get on the same page, but there are some misunderstandings and disagreements. But again, I don't think it's anything we can't work through. Program review updates. I'm just lucky, I guess, I get to, I don't have to butt heads with the president, and, they want to do the things we want to do. And the board is so cooperative. I don't know. I guess I should pay to be in this position, but
Check out.
don't
Jim?
put that on the record, yeah. Program review updates, frankly, were, faculty felt they had no worth in the past years, because the time and effort would be put into those, but there would be no, nothing would be done from them. When we went with Dr. Kinnaman at our Senate retreat, he expressed a desire to pay out on those right away, and that was back before school started. And we've been working through a process to identify instructional equipment from last year's PRUs that we could take action on. And it's been great working with Don Burrs, working with all the deans, all the chairs, the Senate exec, and we've had some great meetings. And I'm happy to report that we've we have a prioritized list that we can present. And the final touches are being put on it, and again, we're optimistic as budget allows that some action could be taken.
Ignore that.
Okay,
Douglas.
thank you.
Sorry.
That's okay. And that, you know, that is a huge morale booster too. We had to turn in our program review updates for this upcoming year on October 15th. But that's exciting too, because there's hope that action will be taken on those. The budget. You know, I fix cars, all right? I'm not like Dr. Bice, you know, who knows budget stuff. But I can tell and I can see the effects of the work Dr. Bice and others have done, Dr. Kinnaman, and certainly as you guys are approving the budget, where it's helping out faculty, because in instructional supplies alone, you know, having that established. And again, in a layman's terms, being able to actually have a budget that doesn't report what we did, but that projects out what we're going to do. You know, that's very strong. It's exciting because that same group of deans, chairs, Senate exec, and administrators are now going to turn their attention on prioritizing faculty hiring. So I like everything to happen tomorrow, but it won't. But eventually, we'll have that list too. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much,
Thanks, Doug.
Douglas. Faculty Association, Maria Hasso. I saw that.
Good morning.
Good
Good
morning,
morning.
Maria. Welcome. Are you you're replacing Denise today, but do you have a position with the association?
Yes, I just took over for John as the VP secretary.
Oh,
So, yes,
congratulations.
Denise, thank you. Denise was not able to make it this morning, so I'm going to be reading her report. College of the Desert Faculty Association president has attended the College Planning Council meetings and prioritization meetings. That's a hard one. The Budget Subcommittee, although that was canceled this month, and Don Burrs' enrollment management presentation. We have requested copies of the 75% document from HR, which was sent to the state this week. We appreciate receiving copies of these necessary documents. We remain very supportive of the needs to hire tenured track faculty. The number of full-time faculty, we believe, is the lowest it has been in quite some time. We recognize the need to develop and utilize an effective mechanism to accomplish this critical need. We are committed to participating fully in the process. The Faculty Association bargaining team went for a weekend 3-day training with the Community College Association. We will be surveying our membership in preparation for bargaining. In general, we see the need to uplift the faculty, be very visible and communicative, and we encourage all positive efforts to do so.
Thank you.
Short and sweet. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Congratulations again on your position.
Thank you, Mike.
College of the Desert Adjunct Association, I don't see David, but I see Kathy Levitt. So Kathy, welcome. Good morning.
David gave me no script.
Well,
So
wing it.
I am just here to say that we are here, and we're anxious to get going again on the negotiations, and we're very pleased with the inclusion that we're getting from the Senate. We're very pleased with the inclusion we're getting on the committees, and I think that since we are the largest bargaining unit on campus, the fact that we're being able to find a slot for our skills is particularly wonderful right now.
Wonderful.
That's all we got to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. California School Employees Association, oh, excuse me, I jumped too soon. COD Alumni Association, Jean Marchou. Good morning, Jean.
Good morning.
Well, it's a hit. The merchants love the new solar panel overhangs. They especially like the lights early in the morning when they're setting up shop. The newly sealed pavement and the crisp white lines all add up to a new and better street fair. Both the merchants and the customers love the shade provided by the solar panels, and we now have outdoor shopping in the shade. The Alumni Association is involved in many events. We had a booth at the Palm Desert Chamber of Commerce Business Expo. we put on the Alumni Homecoming Barbecue and Cheerleader Reunion. We're a novice sponsor to the McCallum's Theater's Family Fun Day. We're working with Palm Desert Rotary to place a tram in the Palm Desert Golf Cart Parade. Pathway and Alumni Scholarship Club events are ongoing with the students. Palm Desert International Dance Festival, we're a sponsor from its inception till now. We had a booth at the Voc-Tech Night at the Date Fair grounds and also donated $250 to support this event. The COD Automotive Car Club show was held during the street fair the last weekend in September. We have our Thanksgiving Pie Social on Wednesday, November 14th. We have a giant 3-day street fair during the Thanksgiving weekend, open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're working for free or reduced cost Sunline bus passes for COD students. The Alumni Association joined the COD Foundation's Academic Angels. The Alumni Association joined the Network for California Community College Foundations. The Alumni Association donated $840 for students to attend the Desert League Theater Awards Dinner. And the Alumni Association also donated $3,628 to help maintain the campus lawns with fertilizer and seed. And since this program has started, over $40,000 has been donated to help maintain COD's lawns. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Gene.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I just wanted to thank the Alumni Association and the foundation for, I understand they both contributed some funding for the golf cart parade. So thank you very much. We appreciate that. Any opportunity to market College of the Desert to thousands of people that are going to be there is just wonderful. So thank you. Hope we see a better one next year.
Thank you. California School Employees Association, Lauro. Good morning, Lauro. Again.
New hires in leadership group. VP of Administrative Services and Executive Director of Human Resources and Labor Relations. Since my last board report was before the board had announced these appointments, I would like to welcome and to offer congratulations to Lisa Howell as our new Vice President. I met her briefly at last month's board meeting and was impressed with how well she already knew about College of the Desert and the classified staff. We have scheduled an introductory meeting for us to discuss issues related to classified staff and to begin to develop a cooperative relationship that will help us, as classified staff, support her vision for administrative services as the fiscal and operational key to meeting the goals and vision of the board and Dr. Kinnaman. I likewise welcome and congratulate Stan Dupre as our new Executive Director of Human Resources and Labor Relations. As we have an established working relationship, we have not skipped a beat and have continued to address and resolve pressing issues. We continue to resolve countless crises in NAPS, which is non-adversarial problem solving as opposed to the sleeping kind, meetings with minimal need for formal grievances or ULPs. As mutual trust has been established, we can now begin to drive institutional change as we support his vision for HR and employees of COD from initial recruitment through professional growth and onto eventual retirement. Vision for staffing plan. As I have understood Dr. Kinnaman's remarks in various venues, his vision for College of the Desert is that it be transformed into a bright beacon at the forefront of student success for California community colleges and beyond. We have discussed the possibility for COD to also become a model college through the development of a staffing plan that encourages leadership, faculty, and staff to grow professionally through clearly outlined pathways or ladders of progression. Some colleges already include such outlines in job descriptions themselves. This more clearly guides employees towards learning and mentoring opportunities, not unlike how I started my own career here at the library, then moved on into IT with an entry-level position there, and then progressed to other positions in IT. We are currently working on a more defined model for such progressions. For example, one would be senior office assistant to secretary to administrative assistant to executive administrative assistant. Clearly defined professional growth opportunities foster hope and optimism for the future. Today's agenda includes various instances of working out of class. CSCA supports and encourages working out of class as a great opportunity for staff to learn new skills and for supervisors to see what we are capable of doing. We do keep a watchful eye to see that such work receives adequate compensation, however. When we see the possibility of advancement and are aware of pathways towards it, we can drive forward in a more focused manner towards excellence. Our institution benefits, our students benefit, we all benefit. These concepts were enthusiastically received when Dr. Kinnaman and I shared these ideas and more with classified staff at our last chapter meeting. And thank you for attending that again, Dr. Kinnaman. The ultimate execution of this vision would result in a reputation of excellence for College of the Desert, not only of student success, but also of employee success. That is an envy of institutions far and wide. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. That takes us to governing board reports. Let's begin today with Trustee Sanchez Fulton, please. We'll let you go first today.
Oh, great, thank you. First of all, I was, it was been a busy month once again, but this particular month, I was very honored and very grateful to attend the NALEO, the National Association of Latino Elected Officials in Washington, D.C. I was selected among 55 elected officials from across the country to discuss the state of the Latino education and strategies for ensuring STEM education. It was such an indeed honor to represent Riverside County, along with another elected official that came from Coachella Valley Unified. Another board member there was also selected. The national summit that was held in Washington, D.C., the focus is the economic competitiveness of the United States will depend on the cultivation of STEM-ready workforce, which we at the College of the Desert, I'm very proud to say that we're very on the forefront of. It was just great to be selected among the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and to go and attend that at no cost to the college. Afterwards, I have some information when I attended the ACCL. It was my first time attending, so what a great learning experience. I have some information for all the board members and to bring back to the college. The key point was the HEA, that for those that don't know the acronym, the Higher Education Act. They discussed that in particular with the closing of with what was going on in Washington, D.C. I was very privileged and honored to have to witness this in Washington, D.C. Our Congressman Raul Ruiz gave me the opportunity for the first time in my life to witness and to go to the gallery. There's an orange ticket for the Senate and a green ticket to see and witness at the House. What a privilege it was, and I want to personally thank Congressman Ruiz to allowing us to witness that and see how. Another item wanted to discuss was I attended the Desert Hot Springs City Council. I see my time going. And gave an update of what COD, every month I go to the Desert Hot Springs City Council and give an update and let them know, our community, what's going on. I also, yesterday, I'm very excited to attend the Desert Hot Springs Career Day. And I want to thank Upward Bound Program, Eduardo. He was there. And what a wonderful experience that COD can participate at the high school. I really want to see more participation. I know we're doing this, but seeing the look on those high school faces, COD, they were just very excited, and just to give out that information, what a joy, what a great joy that was. Also participated on something very beautiful and what I love about COD is our veterans. It was the COD Veterans Outreach Days, so I want to give a little shout out to Donnie and Dr. Nathan Church. They brought out from the Veterans Affairs the mobile van. I don't know if all of you saw that, but they were all here, and I got to talk to the Veterans Department. And sit down with all our students from that participate and all the hard work we're doing here at COD. So, what a great job! and give a shout out to Donnie again, because that Saturday she attended, we had also a Veterans Expo in the Indio Fairgrounds. So we were a presence there once again in Indio. So that was wonderful to see that. Also, I attended a program from the California Endowment and ICUC. It was a 12-city tour throughout California that they're doing, and we were chosen, and we came out, College of the Desert, along with the different Unified, to participate that. So the Student Success Tour was awesome. It was held in the Coachella Valley Our Lady of Soledad Church, and participated in that. And let me see what else. There's so many things, but I'm just going to keep it short this time. So I just, it was a wonderful month. Learned so much, as always, that our college, we're all working so hard, and it's just it's really neat. Thank you very much for allowing me to be part of this.
Thank you, Trustee. Trustee Stefan, how about?
Okay. I didn't get much done this month, and I'll tell you why at the very end, because otherwise it might use up all of my time. But on Wednesday of this last week, I attended the college fair at the fairgrounds. And COD, as always, had a wonderful display. We had hospitality represented, MESA, the ag department, agriculture department. We had the nurses, child care, and we had the counselors. And I had the opportunity to speak with them while I was there. And I didn't get very much else done. But I know that the thing that always amazes me is we always have this beautiful display, and everybody just kind of crowds around. And yes, they go other places too. But they really love coming to our display. And one of the things they absolutely love is Chef Benno. But it was amazing. We had absolutely wonderful displays. We had the MESA program had a great display. The ag department had a wonderful display. Child care, nursing, the counselors and all. And they were all volunteer. And I think that speaks volumes, because there's major universities represented at those places, and that when they're coming from New Mexico, those people are paid to get there and set up. And yes, the fair only lasts 2 hours, but they have to plan it. Mm-hmm. They have to prepare what they've planned, and then they have to get there and set it up, and then they're there the full time. They're talking, they're engaged with the public, the future students that we might have, probably people coming back to the education world, parents, educators like me that go there, for more information for my kids, grabbing everything I can grab to take back to school with me the next day. And they've always got a smile on their face. And then when the night is over and everybody else is exhausted, they have to take it all down too before they get to go home. And then they're back here the next day, and nobody knows. It's just one of those things. They just do it out of the goodness of their heart. Another thing that I wanted to bring up is Mole Day is approaching. It will be October 25th, and I wanted to read you this little piece here. This year, 2013, they have invited, Dr. Bonnie Stephan with her students from Amistad High School. So my students will be here on the 25th. They'll be performing different chemistry experiments and also working with different instruments used in chemistry lab. For my students, it'll probably be a first that they'll ever have used any of these things. So I hope the school is still standing on Saturday. Let's see. But the chemistry department, the MESA department, the students here are all excited, and I know my students are just clamoring every day when they arrive at my fifth period class arrives there. They are just saying, am I going to get to go? Am I going to go? Are you sure we're going to get to go? They're just so excited about this opportunity to really just experiment with chemistry. And I understand they're going to be making slime that could be dangerous with my students, and silly putty, which should be quite fun. Another thing I want to give a very brief report on, just because I want to conclude with something, but I want to make sure I just have a little bit of time for that, is that the foundation at their last meeting, Aurora, Wilson was there, the new trustee, and so she was introduced, and they greeted her. And then they also presented their internal policy manual, which I thought was absolutely wonderful, so that whoever comes in next has the opportunity to know what the right procedures are for things. And now that I only have a few seconds left, I will say the reason I didn't get much done was because my granddaughter arrived on the 11th of November, and October. Yes, October. And I'm so excited, I can't even remember her birthday. But she's alive. So that was, and I have 20 seconds left. And you can look it up on Facebook, and you can see her pictures.
Oh, good.
I only have one in my phone. I'm not going to bore you with all my pictures.
Can I borrow your second for a second?
Thank you, Don.
So there you go.
Thank you. Trustee Wilson?
Well, I was the guest speaker at the Career Mentor Program. I appreciated the opportunity to share my educational and career experience with students and offering them advice. And so many thanks to Christine Schaefer for the invitation to speak. I was also a speaker at the Palm Springs Women's Press Club meeting at the Chaparral Country Club last week. And I spoke to about 30 women on 2 topics that I'm very passionate about, and one is about homelessness, and the other, of course, was about College of the Desert. So I really enjoyed speaking to that group. I attended a lunch meeting with Peter Sturgeon from the Foundation and Guido Portante and Tony Mariano from the World Affairs Council of the Desert. And we talked about our partnership between the 2 organizations and how we're working together. And they would love to see President Kinnaman join. So
I have that letter on my desk.
Okay.
Now I know where it came from.
And Wednesday Wednesday night, Dr. Kinnaman and I attended the art exhibit, Declarations, Our Messages to the World, at the Walter N. Marks Center for the Arts on campus. Lisa, the director of the center, was so helpful, and we chatted afterwards about what they're working on. And I know you had to leave, and so did I, to attend other events. And I ended up coming back to see the remainder of the evening. And there were more wall hangings there, and there was entertainment going on. So it was really quite an event. I'm so happy to see that center being used, and I hope it's going to be considered for more events. I don't see Jim here, but I would love to see the foundation use it for some more events, and understand that Lisa is also working on 2 certificated programs in the field of museum studies, and so she's working on those, and I'm really glad to see us develop those kinds of programs as you consider what we have out here in the desert in terms of the number of art galleries, our museums, the heritage that we have here, and again, putting together these types of programs to meet the needs of our community. It's just kind of a win-win for everybody, so really happy to see that. And that's pretty much it. After today's meeting, I am going to be attending the CVAG, College of the Desert Energy Collaboration Initiative with Larry McLaughlin at the helm. He's been working on this for quite a while, and addressing the workforce needs related to energy efficiency. So I'm really excited to participate in that effort that involves our local utilities, COD, CVAG is the Regional Council of Governments, and the state. So I'm very pleased to have that event going on as well.
Thank you very much.
Did you want to add something? You look like you're about
No,
to.
I think that's great.
Oh, okay.
Trustee Broughton?
Fortunately, many of the things that I did this month have been covered, so I can just touch on them. The usual nuts and bolts things went on. The meeting for the agenda review. We had a brief meeting with Sunline, and as as Jean said, from the alumni, we're continuing conversation on developing a stronger relationship with Sunline so that there is a chance that there will be at least reduced price passes available to our students. And we're hoping for the day that we can have all of our students that have the opportunity to have a bus pass and ride the bus. Again, I have to thank Glenn Miller for spearheading this and keeping us all together and on track on this project. The college Voc Tech Night was used a lot of time this month, but it was well worthwhile, as Bonnie said. Our East Valley Committee of the Friends and Alumni met and did what we could to help. It was Coachella Valley High School's turn to chair that event. So we collaborated with Larry Salas to see what we could do to help there. I do have to thank our departments that came out. As Bonnie said, the Administration of Justice, the Agriculture and Horticulture, Culinary Arts, Early Childhood Ed, MESA, and Nursing and Allied Health. I especially have to thank the counselors. It was their third event for some of those people that day. They still came wearing their smiles and their welcoming faces, because I don't know how they did it, but they were still happy to be there and they reached out. The alumni brought their new clever setup where they could advertise the street fair. You say, well, this was a college Voc Tech night, but you have to remember with most of those students came their family. So it's a good opportunity to remind those parents that, yes, be proud that you're the College of the Desert alumni, and it does help the college when you shop at the street fair. So he had really a lot of visitors to his booth, and he failed to show us these cute little toys that they were giving away. There's a dot to go on your tablet or your iPhone that advertises the street fair, and also this cute little cleaner of the screen. So those were very clever, and there were definitely people standing around wanting some of those. So the college will be thought of many times as that. How many dozen times a day somebody touches their phone to make it light up. So that's good. So thank you, Joel, for coming for your 14th event of that day. I ran into the Supervisor Benoit, who had come for a brief visit because he too had a number of things that day. But that community support, the foundation donated for that event, as did the alumni. I can't say thank you enough. The opportunity to reach out to the community and showcase College of the Desert goes a long way. And that event is sponsored by all the high schools in the east side of the valley. So it reaches to many students, many future students, and reminds a number of our alumni that the College of the Desert is a fine place to be. So thank you so much.
Thank you. My turn.
Your turn.
We are a busy group, aren't we?
We are.
We are. I spent a lot of time this month meeting with members of the community. Dr. Kinnaman and I met with some potential donors. I had a meeting with potential sponsor, corporate sponsor for the college, so we're working on that. Attended the board agenda review meeting. I'll have some more comments about some of the public comments later on in my comments section. How was that for comments? I was very happy to attend the State of Riverside County presentation. Trustee Sanchez and Dr. Kinnaman and I were there. And that was a very, very, very interesting event. I didn't see
No,
it.
I didn't make it.
But we lose sight of how huge this county is.
Yeah.
And we think that the county starts at the pass and sort of stops somewhere near Desert Center, kind of. The important part does. But it was a very interesting event, hugely attended. There were probably a couple thousand people there. And it was, Supervisor Benoit presented more because it was in his area of the county, but it was an excellent presentation, and then the main speaker was the gentleman who puts on Coachella Fest and Stagecoach. And he explained what an impact that those two festivals have on the economy of Riverside County in general and on the desert here in particular. And we spill over into that because people know us and people come here. It's a worldwide event. And on a personal note, I was in New York last year, and I needed directions in the subway. Okay, I never need to. I've traveled Europe, never asked for a direction. In New York, I need a direction. And the lady I asked for directions said, "Where are you from?" And I said, "Palm Springs." And she said, "Oh, I go to Coachella Fest." That's the kind of impact that this event has, and it gives us a worldwide recognition. And I thought it was very, very interesting to hear the impact that it has on us indirectly and directly. So that was a very important event. I also want to thank the staff for the COD Matters newsletter that came out yesterday. We need to do more of that. It was very good. It's good to see what's going on and find out information that everybody is sharing. And I want to just make an observation. All of the presentations today were so positive.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks volumes as to what we as a board, and of course the superintendent president and his staff and everyone at the college is working so intently to make this the best place that we can be. And I think that's definitely showing up, and I can hear it in everyone's, not only what you're talking about, but the way you're speaking about it. And I want to thank you all for that. And that is my report, which takes us now to administrative reports. Dr. Kinnaman.
Thank you. And I want to echo those remarks, Trustee O'Neill. Our constituency leadership, they're leading. Whether you look at Doug, Laro, all the players, they definitely are leading, and they're leading in a manner that's focused on student success, student learning, what's best for Coachella Valley, what's best for the community that we all love, and for the students that we know that we're the key that can transform many of their lives, and maybe the only key in this valley that can transform many of their lives. So I thank you for us trying to row in the same direction. I know sometimes we maybe go in a circle and then have to start again, but the spirit of what we're doing together is, I think, what's the most important thing. And also the ability to, if we go in a circle, to acknowledge that and step up and go ahead and move forward. So again, I want to thank all of you, because you're really stepping up in your roles and trying to do what's best for College of the Desert and our students. And I want to thank the board also for your leadership. There's several things that I'd like to update on. We've, of course, been going through the process, and Stan and his staff have been quite busy over recent months, doing many recruitments, revisions to job descriptions, and scheduling interviews, putting together committees with our constituent groups. But now we're finally seeing some of the fruits of all that work. We've got our Executive Vice President of Student Success and Student Learning position. We've got a great pool there. The committee's moving forward under the leadership of Dr. Bice as the chair of the committee, and we anticipate getting that finalized by mid-November. The pool is exciting because we've got really strong talent that's in that pool, so I'm looking forward to having to make a very difficult decision on who's going to be the next executive vice president, but it's certainly going to be someone that's stellar. We are going to be announcing our accounting specialist, I believe, next week or sometime very soon. Our Vice President of Administrative Services, Lisa Howe, begins on Monday. And we also have got a great pool, from my understanding, from Don with our Director of Research position, where we really are looking forward to that as we move to having much more data-driven decision-making in this institution, and also being able to validate how effective we are and to validate outcomes. In addition, we have, I think that they've concluded the Chief of Staff interviews yesterday, and they'll be forwarding recommendations for me to interview, I believe, next week. Another update is the College Planning Council, the notorious College Planning Council of College of the Desert. You know, it's been bannered around for the past, probably 4 or 5 years before I got here, but definitely ever since I've gotten here. And I appreciate everybody's willingness to continue to play with College Planning Council and try to use it in a way so that we can get some action with that group. And so we've really, I think, come a long way with the subcommittee structure of CPC. Again, it's co-chaired with the Academic Senate President Douglas. And we've got an assessment and planning subcommittee, and they're going through, or outcomes assessment, and they're going through an assessment of our planning process. They've looked at other models and are going to be, over the next few months, making some recommendations as they work with our constituents. Again, as Doug had mentioned, we are prioritizing our equipment requests from the 2012-13 program review updates. I want to thank Don for leading that effort so that it's moving and it's not just stuck, and we're actually going to have a prioritized list and then be able to identify resources, whether it be college resources, foundation resources, or other types of resources to help address some of the critical needs that we have, equipment needs. And I'll reiterate that the subcommittee is also working, or will shortly be working, on prioritization of faculty positions. In that process, we also need to look at related staff positions and discuss how we're going to be prioritizing them. But the faculty positions, we're looking at recruitment for spring 2014. So I know everybody's on a fast track there, and that may be a more difficult conversation. I don't know, Doug, but we'll definitely all do it in the same spirit that we've done the rest of our planning. Let's see. Oh, on your in front of you, you have an annual security report. This is.
No, we
Oh,
didn't get that.
oh, it's over here. I'm sorry. In fact, I was probably supposed to let Dr. Bice do this in his and talk about this, so I'll hold off on that. With our facilities update, Indio, we still remain on track for spring 14 opening. On Desert Hot Springs, we've got Steve Renew, again, working with the city on putting together an appraisal for the property that is currently deeded to the city. Okay, so, and let's see here. I wanted to go over a few upcoming events. This Sunday, we have partnered with the McCallum, and this is the first time we've really done something jointly, and so Mitch and I are very excited about doing something together like this. It's Keyboard Conversations with Jeffrey Siegel. It's October 20th, so this Sunday from 3 to 5. Also, next week we have the California Community Colleges Administrators of Occupational Education Annual Conference. That's a mouthful. And so all the statewide administrators in this sector, this area, will be coming to Palm Springs. They're going to be meeting over at the Riviera. I understand Chancellor Harris will be attending, and it'll be an opportunity for me to represent COD in welcoming that group to the desert. November 1, we have the CVEP Economic Summit, and it's at the JW Marriott this year. I think many of you have probably attended that in the past. It's a real exciting event, and I'm looking forward to that. We've got the Palm Desert Golf Cart Parade Sunday. We have students participating in Sunday, October the 27th. And then we have a student, a contingent, and faculty that's doing the Palm Springs Pride Parade on Sunday, November 3rd. And so Chris and I will be accompanying them, and hopefully it'll be a cooler day than it was last year when we did it. And
Joel,
that's, yes.
Are we participating on Saturday's AIDS Walk event in Palm Springs?
You know, I'm not sure on that. There may be individuals within the organization that are participating or sponsoring
Thank you.
somebody on that. Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
In many years ago, we would have lots of statewide conferences held here, and I'm glad to see that that's coming back. And you will be asked to welcome many people, I think, in the future, which is very good for us. When I've gone to other statewide conferences, and when I was working, the local colleges usually did something, and maybe we can start thinking of how we can market ourselves a little bit at these events and have appropriate student, faculty, staff, trustees, presentations. I remember once Long Beach choral group sang. I mean, you have different things from different colleges, and we can look at what we can do to showcase all that we do here at the College of the Desert.
I think that's a very, very good recommendation, because you're right, on these statewide events, you often see students participating and others within the organization participating as the host college, or at least the host community. So
we could have taken a windmill out there, and
I know.
I mean, really, there's a lot we could be doing, especially for this one, that we had enough knowledge.
Right, and a lot of them, they have some side trips for folks that might come in the day before or day after, and we've got some really exciting things here in Coachella Valley that we would be able to assist in sharing some unique things. And it also helps with our recruitment. While we've got these people in town, if we can let them see how wonderful it is, then later on when we have openings, potentially there'd be interest.
And it's amazing. I mean, I put a number of conferences on for disabled students here, and when you go out to the community, you get a lot of community support. I mean, I had the tribe was providing bus transportation to the casinos, and so there's a lot that you can do to build up our community and demonstrate our involvement in the community. So it's great.
Is there going to be a reception, Joel, at that event? I was just thinking maybe something the trustees could attend briefly, just to say
Let me
hello.
check and see if they're going to have a reception. If so, I'll make sure that you're aware. Okay.
Back to the Indio building at our college Bulk Tech the other night, I heard a number of positive comments, because folks in that community, of course, use Oasis, it being a main street in that area. So they can actually see this building. It's gone from looking like a metal skeleton, huge Tinker Toy type thing, to having skin on it and beginning to look like a real building. And on top of it, now you're beginning to see those elusive IID trucks and utility trucks parked outside. So it encourages everyone to know that the ball is rolling, and that soon they'll have this beautiful building. And since these were high school students, they're going like, wow, when I get out of high school, I can go there. It's really a morale booster for that community as well as for College of the Desert.
Great.
Are we planning a ribbon cutting ceremony? I know that you're tired of me hearing this from me, but for that building?
Right, Michael.
We're going to be doing something there, yes.
Thank you.
And
We have a meeting next week on Monday.
Joel, isn't something going on today and Saturday? Aren't we putting on a production called Will Any Gentleman?
yes, thank you. That was not on my list.
Okay.
The only other item is we've got the annual security report, a copy of it that's before you. Again, this is Ray comes, I know, periodically and gives presentations, but we wanted to make sure that you had a copy of this so that you could review it and be more familiar with it. And Jim, Dr. Weiss, I don't know if you have any comments about this report or.
Well, it'll be posted on the website as well, but it is a required report. Every community college district produces this, but in discussing it with Ray, and we haven't discussed it in detail, but I made note of the fact that it's good information to have just to assess how well we're doing. Do we have any areas we need to shore up, that sort of thing, because you have to have a safe, nurturing environment for learning to occur. So it's incumbent upon us. As I told him, we shouldn't need a federal requirement to do the report. We should be assessing this on an ongoing basis, and I think they do that, but they take that information to heart, and he told me that several people in his department get involved in putting that together and analyzing the data, so.
So is this a finalized report, or? how
Right,
is-
this is what's submitted on behalf of the institution.
Do you think at some point we might have a presentation from this? Would you think that would be appropriate?
We've had them, as
Yeah, we did.
Dr. Bice says, we have had them in the past. Ray was here last spring, I believe, so.
We usually
it's
do an
on our
annual, yes,
schedule.
yes.
It's on schedule?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
very good. I'm just thinking even as we get more satellite campuses, the issue of safety, at all our campuses is very important.
And with all that's going on in the world, that we've talked in the past about these issues, I think it's important that we constantly be bringing this forward.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, Trustee Wilson. We are moving forward. I recently met with Steve with having additional coverage, camera coverage at Mecca Thermal and our offsite campuses. So that's been something that's been discussed a lot in the past, and they're moving forward with that. So
Thank you.
Is that it, Dr. David?
I think that's plenty.
Okay, then we will move forward with the consent agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think our interim.
I think it'd be professionally remiss if we didn't mention that the presentation by the Vice President of the Union had stated that a report had not been provided to the President of the Union regarding the staffing report that was split on the 75-25 report, the ratio of our number of faculty, that had been presented to her from HR 2 days ago, at least. So I just want to clarify that because we always want to address some misinformation when it occurs.
Thank you. Thank you, Don. Well, moving on to the consent agenda, item number 10. All items on the consent agenda will be considered for approval by a single vote without discussion. Any board member may request that an item be pulled from the consent agenda to be discussed and considered separately in the action agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I would like to speak to it. I'd like to, we always have a report on travel and funding that's used for travel. I want to thank you for that wonderful report we have this time. Sometimes when a report's put together, you feel when you read it that it's justifying the money that's spent. I never feel uncomfortable about the travel funds because the people that are going to these conferences, it's an opportunity for them to learn about their topic and for them to show people how wonderful College of the Desert is. But I felt that this travel report and agenda item was especially outstanding because it didn't make me feel that it was justifying that cost expenses. Instead, it explained why. There was an entirely different tone. It was much more in-depth, short, but in-depth. And I really have a good, positive feel. So as I say, I never feel that someone's taking advantage of funding to go to these, advantage in a negative way, to go to these events. But this time, we realize as the board and the community realizes that they are taking advantage in a positive way of opportunities to learn and grow in their profession and to showcase the college. So thank you so much for that nice report.
No, thank you. I'll pass that word along to others as well. And I would note that one thing I didn't have learned in my career is that you mentioned showcasing the college. It is, I think, a good thing because it almost becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy to go out and preach the gospel, so to speak, according to College of the Desert. And people begin to feel, yeah, hey, we are really good. And it just keeps building and building, one thing on another. So that's something in tough budget times, people kind of start to look at cutting out, but you can't forget the importance of that.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion has carried. The next item is introduction of new full-time staff. Let me just explain what that means. We had a history many years ago, not many, but a number of years ago, of introducing all new full-time staff and faculty to the board. It's a way for the board to put a name with a face. It's a way for the person to be recognized as being employed at this institution, a very important institution in the Valley. And so we've reinitiated that, and we are beginning that item today. And I guess, Stan, are you taking over for this, or?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
We actually, unless I'm mistaken, don't have anyone to present today, Michael, because the people who have been added most recently are entirely people who have moved from part-time, permanent to full-time, or have been who have left and who have come back. We have no new full-time employees who weren't already employees of the College of the Desert in one form or another. So I hope that makes sense. They're just, there are no new full-time employees who haven't been presented to the board in the past. At least that's what I'm being told. Becky's giving me a
So
question.
that means that Stan doesn't want to introduce himself.
You're one.
You know how I don't like attention.
Okay.
But as we watch, we will be watching this very carefully, Trustee O'Neill, and every month we will bring forward new permanent full-time employees.
Thank you. Our action agenda. Items pulled from the consent agenda for separate discussion, there were none, so that takes us to item number 1, which is Human Resources Report of Worker Compensation Self-Insurance. Do I have a motion to approve the report as presented?
So move.
Second. Moved. Any discussion? Do we need any
Were we
information?
not going to have a little bit of information?
I thought we were.
I think we are too.
I have some information on that topic, but not a great deal. As you know, annually, under the Joint Powers Agreement, we must submit to the state the report which is attached and is available online to item number 1. It's our annual report that details the number of claims that have been made, primarily workers' compensation kinds of claims. No details regarding the individuals, of course, because of the confidentiality of it. You'll notice that the form is somewhat different than it was last year. It shows wages paid, where our records are stored, the number of injuries, and it covers the period July 1, 2012 to June 30, 2013.
Are there any questions from the board?
Okay. You're okay. Looking at our new trustees, they both look okay.
You all right? We understand that we are self-insured on this. Okay. Okay. Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion is carried. Administrative Services, Resolution Number 101813-1, authorized signatures. Do I have a motion to approve the resolution as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, we will probably be doing this regularly for the next few months, correct? So there's no need to discuss. This is a roll call vote. So Dr. Kinnaman, would you please call the roll?
Sure. Trustee Wilson?
Aye.
Trustee Sanchez?
Yes.
Trustee Stefan?
Aye.
Trustee Broughton?
Aye.
Trustee O'Neill?
Aye. The motion is carried. Certification of signatures. Do I have a motion to approve the certification of signatures as presented?
You do?
Is moved? Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Again, this is something we'll probably be seeing regularly for the next few months, and we will be signing these for the next few months. Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion is carried. The CCFS 311 Annual Financial and Budget Report. Do I have a motion to approve the report as presented?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion or presentation?
Sure, I'd like to speak to this briefly.
I just realized we only have 2 minutes.
Okay, briefly.
Really briefly.
We file these reports. You saw one, I believe, last month. It was a quarterly report, and this one's an annual report, and this is after we've had our audits and everything. So about this time every year, you'll be seeing this. And when's our next one come, Jim?
Yeah, the next quarterly one is item number.
Oh,
2 items back.
I remember that's why I was supposed to explain it.
Yes.
Yeah, and in fact, while we're talking about that, I just mentioned that item number 5, we had to, this particular annual report takes quite a bit to get done. You have to insert data from that into the quarterly that's in number 5, and just the logistics of the timing, it had to be typed in, so the print looks a little funky, but that's the reason for that.
Actually, I like that. It's easier to read.
That's true, it is.
So, Dr. Bice, thank you. That's what I meant to say. Okay.
Any questions from the board?
So this is our, being still new to the board, so this is the section 58305 of the California Code. So we submit this annually then?
Yes.
Okay.
Quarterly
Quarterly?
and then
We have a-
annually.
This
So
is the annual report, and every 3 months, there's a quarterly report. And the quarterly report's 2 more agenda items back for
Yeah.
this first quarter from July 1st to September 30th.
I like this format because I can read it and understand it.
Any other comments, discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion is carried. We're going to break for our next closed session at noon. Timed that pretty good. We return here at 1:30, if I'm correct. So we have an hour and a half we will be back in this room. Thank you very much. 2 items which I will inform the public about at this point. In closed session, a motion was made by trustee Stefan, seconded by trustee Broughton, that Desert Community College District authorize staff to pursue timely resolution of the full-time equivalent MIS reporting to the California Community College Chancellor's Office. The motion was carried unanimously. Also in closed session, a motion was made by trustee Broughton, seconded by trustee Stefan, to expel student ID number 0521998. The motion carried unanimously. That's all the board has to report. That takes us back to the action agenda. We are now on action agenda item number 4, notice of intent to award contracts for the East Valley Campus Indio project. Do I have a motion to approve the notice of intent as presented?
So move.
Second.
Uh,
And we have a motion. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Yahoo.
Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion has carried. Item number 5, the 2013-2014 CCFS 311Q Quarterly Financial Status Report. Do I have a motion to approve the report as presented?
You do?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? This is just the.
This is the first quarter.
This is
We
the fir-
just approved
Right.
the annual report. Now we're moving to the first quarter this year. Okay.
This is the first
Thank
quarter.
you.
And you notice the
Excuse
format's
me
different.
For a long time.
Because I was hearing
Halfway anyway.
Different format, bigger numbers, helps those of us with vision problems. And actually, the numbers being that way do make it much easier to read and understand. Thank you. Any other discussion or comments? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion is carried. Section D, Student Success and Student Learning, approval of curriculum modifications for spring 2014. Do I have a motion to approve the curriculum modifications as presented?
So move.
Second?
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Only to the positive. I'm very happy to see that there are more degrees listed that are available now for our students. And I love seeing the certificates being put out in a way that a student can actually see what it is that they need to do, and it will be so much easier for them to achieve their goals. So thank you so much for all the hard work that goes on to put together the curriculum.
Very much.
I wanted to comment also on the program modifications for the Administrative of Justice degree. I think it's wonderful that we're having that adjusted as well. So I think that's going to help a lot of the students know that. Thank you. Especially the one introduction to forensics. It was a needed change in that particular degree. Thank you very much for adding that.
Any other comment? All right, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion has carried. That takes us into our study session for today. This study session is titled Annual Audit Process. I discussed this with the President and Trustee Broughton at our agenda session. We will start getting audit reports most likely in November. We'll get the foundation report. In
Wonderful.
December, we will have definitely all the audits of the colleges, but various audits. There's like 3 of them, am I correct, Jim? 2 or 3?
You actually see 2 Prop 39 bond audits. One's performance audit and one's a fiscal. Then you'll see the year-end report, audit report on the district itself. Then you'll see the year-end report on the foundation.
And so we're not, since we only see these documents once a year, and since we have 2 new trustees, I know Trustee Sanchez got stuck with these last year in December, handed on the day of she took office. So I requested that we have today's study session so that we can be ready to know what we're looking for when we receive these. I mean, there's pages and pages and pages, and while they're all very important, they're not all critical for us to memorize. So we can maybe focus what we need to be looking for and at. And so I asked that Dr. Kinnaman and Dr. Busey to come up with a presentation so we could be focused. And it's all part of our ongoing training, so that we keep the board trained in our responsibilities and duties. So with that disclaimer, I will turn it over to Dr. Kinnaman.
Yes, and we just had very brief comments so that you would kind of know what to expect as we move forward. So as Dr. Bice was indicating, we have our annual fiscal audits, and we usually we have changed our mechanism for how long we have an auditor. We try to change every 3 years, and the audit firm comes and presents to the board, presents any types of findings, and they also present any items that we were to address during the prior audit to make sure that that staff has addressed any recommendations. We also have federal audits on some of our grants and our financial aid program. The Department of State Finance conducts audits, periodic audits of state agencies, and so they'll come in, and it changes oftentimes what it is that they're looking at. There may be something up and down the state that they're targeting, but they'll come in periodically and do an audit from their perspective. And then, of course, sometimes we'll have a special audit. We've had special audits here since I've been here. Our foundation's required to have an audit that's presented to this board, and typically that's early in the spring. Again, as Jim mentioned, the Measure B Citizens Oversight Committee works with our auditors to do an audit, make sure that we're providing, we're expending the resources as it is applicable in the bond language or the ballot language that was approved by our voters, to make sure that we're consistent with what their intent was and what we said we were going to expend the funds on. Jim, what else in there?
Well, I think in terms of the audit reports themselves and things to look for, because the one thing that disturbs me about the way the profession has gone over the years is it's become more unintelligible to look at the data in those reports. When I started my career, it was much simpler, and as an example, I had great difficulty breaking open a major financial issue in the Foothill De Anza district. I thought I could look at the audit reports, and that was the first time I really had realized the accumulation of some changes that had been made that you just couldn't find things easily. So, but the first thing to look at would be the opinion letter. That's going to be right at the front end of the report. Did you get an unqualified opinion or not? If you didn't, what did they say about any qualifications? And that's the biggie. I mean, that's the overall grade you get. That's where you hope to get an A, if you will. Later on in the report, you'll have a series, after that opinion letter, you'll have a series of financial statements. The district's report is much more comprehensive because you get all the different funds that have to be reported on and so on. But later on, after you're through a lot of that, toward the latter part of an audit report, you'll often see a management letter. That letter may contain some things that they're not big issues, but they are some things that are kind of calling to your attention. And I've always looked at an external auditor in situations where I've not had an internal audit capability as providing me as a chief business officer that kind of service. You know, you can't be everywhere all the time. Things are going to break down here and there. You can always do things better. They're that set of eyes that can just come in and take a look and point a few things out. Then you'll have a higher level kind of thing. It'll be their findings and recommendations. Hopefully you don't have a lot of those. But again, I don't look at those as necessarily bad things. They're things that need to be fixed, but it's something that you can get a handle on before something might really get out of control. So that's another area, as well as you typically will see the institution's response. What are we going to do about that? And the way I would like to approach things and have in the past is to report back to the board several months down the line, 6 months or so later, as to the progress in addressing those recommendations. Has the staff been doing what it set out to do? You will get a reporting on the prior year's audit findings and whether those were cleared up or not, so you do get kind of another report card on that. But I think it's good for the board to know that there's I'm in the middle there between the two audits, that work was going on and proceeding according to plan or not. Sometimes things come up, and sometimes you'll even see it. It's not the usual case, but I've been there, done that in my career, where you take exception with an audit finding and you set forth, the rationale for that. So should that occur, the board would also see that. There also, this again gets back earlier in the report and in the district audit, you'll see a management discussion and analysis. That is not as helpful as I would like it to be. That again gets back to the way you have to report on some of the information anymore. Districts typically going to show, because of the way you have to account for things in governmental accounting, some negative numbers that kind of defy the average person's logic, and I think it really ought to be so that people can reasonably interpret what's going on. But the narrative is still something to look at as well. So those are the big things. You will get the audit partner usually, or the manager on the job, will usually be at the board meeting and make a presentation about their findings, and also be prepared to answer any questions that the board might have. So that's kind of the way that all works.
I spoke with our current auditor. I forget what his name is. One of the individuals doing it, he wanted board comments. And I'm sorry, he wanted board comment, and he was very willing to address questions from the board prior to the board meeting. But I'm not sure we want how much of that we want to do.
Could do it via email.
Could we funnel questions perhaps to one source, to either Leanne and to give it to Jim, that would funnel it to the auditor? Because we don't want to have five of us ask the same question over and over and over. Is there a mechanism that you think would be effective, Mr. President?
I think that process that we currently use with the board agenda seems to be an effective process, and that way, if the question needs to go through Jim, there may be some that need to go other places, but probably most likely not, and then we can facilitate getting a response.
I would say typically too, if you have an audit finding, it's not necessarily going to be in your business office. It's going to be, out somewhere within maybe in the admissions area or whatever. And at least it's always been my practice to make sure that staff in that area were there to respond to any questions. They know that area better than the business officer would. So you want to have, it's really the business officer's job to make sure all the right people are in the room in case the board has any questions.
So maybe a combination of both.
Yeah, I think we've always had questions in the past that we've asked the audit firm representatives, but I thought we might facilitate the process since he volunteered that to us. We never had that option before.
That's great.
This is the first time. This is the second year of this firm, and I think they realized last year that we weren't. What's the word I want to use? We weren't all on the same page. They thought we had a different set of experiences than we had originally. I would be my best statement on that, and I think this would be a way for us to help bridge our understanding and our knowledge, and if we can get those questions to Leanne as our current process is with any questions, and then we'll funnel them through. And then at the actual event itself, not only will those questions be addressed, but we can all ask other questions.
Chairman O'Neill, I think it's great that the audit firm, I think that's one of our duties and responsibilities as board members to be aware of our the audit report. So I would suggest that if we do have questions, we can email. I have a lot of questions that I wanted to ask at the time, but as we're coming more.
Yeah, well, if we can get those to Leanne,
Okay.
and then we'll compile them and we'll send them off, and maybe some of them can be answered via Jim, and some off to the audit
And
firm.
some, letting the audit firm know ahead of time, some may fit well within their presentation. Just take them on there. Others, they may choose to then deal with kind of outside that presentation. But
And the reason why I'm asking this precisely because I had a constituent ask me a specific question, and I think as electeds we have to answer those questions as best we can. Thank you very much for doing that.
That's why I
Really
wanted
appreciate it.
today to take place, because in the past sometimes we've gotten the report 24 hours before the actual meeting, and I would hope that would not be the case now. We would have time to review them. Last year we got the foundation report in November, and we received the other reports in December. So if we can have some leeway, we can review them. I think it would make the process much more effective for everyone.
Yeah, and that was pretty much the way things were flowing now in Riverside to, where the foundation would come in November, the district in December. That way also the board didn't have too many audit reports hitting them all at once, which,
Yes.
because there's a lot of information in each one, so.
And it's hours and hours and hours of.
Mr. Tim, question, I like the idea of the progress reports, how you were mentioning that. Could you elaborate that, having a, so we don't just get it like we did the last time? In
Right.
between the two, I like that. I think that's great.
Yeah, I think we need to ask the president to ask her, Lisa Howe, right? To put that on her to-do calendar, Jim, so we've never had that in the past.
But very critical,
It's very
and I
critical.
remember Trustee Broughton mentioned that several times on having it in layman's language, and having this progress report put before the actual is very critical. So.
Good.
Any other information? This is the second year. Are we using the same firm for one more year, and then we will look for another one again? Is that the typical 3 years? Or
That's typical. It's often the case that you might re-up for a second 3-year term. Sometimes that's in the initial agreement that you could do that, or you could do an add on a year up to a maximum of 3 additional years.
Okay.
I don't recall just how your contract is right now. What you try to balance, you do want that changing of firms so that you have a fresh look periodically. On the other hand, that first year a new firm comes in is going to cost you more because they got to get familiar with your operations, how you're set up, a lot of things like that. You know, it's that third year where they're probably giving you the most cost-effective service. So it's not a problem to go a little bit beyond 3, but that 3 years should stay a marker, you know, to sit down and really seriously think about should we, and sometimes you go out and test and maybe in all likelihood that current firm will put their name in again and you could pick them again, but you still put their feet to the fire in terms of, you know, being competitive with the pricing and so forth by having it out to bid.
Had been told when we switched firms and we had the contract before the board that we would find that the first year with a new firm that we would be finding a lot of audit exceptions. We did not find that to be the case.
I noticed
Was that your observation? Was that your observation?
That was, I anticipated just what you're saying, and I didn't find that either. So that was a bit of a surprise.
A good surprise.
Yeah, a good surprise.
Okay.
Yeah. Welcome to see that.
Which I think is an important comment. We've been that area of our college has been understaffed, but yet we've been successful in doing a very good audit last year. So we hope that continues.
And also, we were characterized, the college was characterized as not being on the up and up because we had retained the same auditors for a number of years. And I thought that in fact showed that they had done a good job and that they had rotated it between partners. Although we had the same person that reported back to us each year, the same person didn't do the work. So I mean, I'm not opposed to changing auditors. I just think that we were painted once more with a broad stroke for something that wasn't true at all.
Well, and that, you know, a lot of this is perception. You know, I do think it's better, though, to get that outside look, that changeover. But
I definitely agree.
yeah, and changing people, it's a nuance, but people don't appreciate the fact with an audit firm that a change in the partner and the team, basically it's like having a whole new group come in. Now, still at some point you kind of need to roll through somebody else, but that's you know, a valid way to go, and it's done. It's not unusual to see that.
Any questions? Anything that you want more information about at this point? I guess we did a good job. Thank you, gentlemen.
Really appreciate that for bringing that
I
up.
think that gets at least to get us focused when these start coming in. My only request is that we get them as quickly as humanly possible.
Chairman O'Neill, was it not on the, like, he made that recommendation prior to that to get the progress report during that, just having an outline of that prior?
That in 6 months, yes, Dr. Kinnaman's written that
Okay.
down. And passed that along to Lisa. Dr. Kinnaman's making sure I did my job, that's good. I need checked on. Okay, thank you very much. I think that helps us, and that takes us now to agenda item number 14, which is suggestions for future meetings. Trustee Wilson, how about we begin with you and move this way? Do you have any suggestions for future meetings?
Well, I've talked with Dr. Kinnaman about, and I did mention this at the last board meeting, about having Dr. Pam Clute attend from UCR, and I've been in discussions with her regarding STEM to do a presentation, and she is very much interested in doing a presentation to the trustees. So we're working on a date, and I'll be working with Joel on that. The other, working with David Brinkman, who is the executive director of the Desert AIDS Project with regard to Get Tested Coachella Valley, and perhaps bringing a resolution or something before the trustees with regard to our commitment to that effort, and bringing Get Tested here to College of the Desert. And Trustee Broughton had talked earlier about Sunline and transportation, and as you know, there's a new general manager that has been hired, and I think perhaps at some point we should invite the new general manager to come and introduce herself to the trustees.
I hope she can do that after she's agreed to some kind of wonderful working arrangement with us.
An announcement meeting? Thank you. Trustee Sanchez Fulton?
Well, someone that I would love for the college to work on a partnership is the World Affairs Council wanted to put together, along with the Sheriff County on human trafficking, seminar, some type of presentation that they could put together here at the College of the Desert and bring that awareness to our community here in Riverside County. So we're working on that. Second of all, wanted to bring forward another partnership, possible partnership with the Bill Gates Foundation. Sometime in the future, they're going to be coming out, and we're just kind of hoping that we could work stronger partnership with that. Thirdly, something on the agenda that I'd like to see is something, I met somebody at the career day, and they're working right now with out in the East Valley, but I would like to see a presentation with this organization called the Migrant Educational. We work with them closely out in the East Valley, but I'd like for them to kind of work with us in the west side of the valley as well. So working on that partnership, that comes from the county as well, the Migrant Educational Project. It's a really great program, so something I'd like to see to our, and have maybe a training session for our SB 440 students as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe
Trustee Stefan?
One thing that I'm a little bit concerned about is our counseling, our student-staff ratio, because counseling is so critical with student success. And also, if there's some way we could get an update on that, and how their extra duties are distributed, and if, like where they're stationed, do we have somebody full-time at each of our centers, or do we have them split between different places and then different projects, or how that is really organized, and what we might be able to do to assist them.
That's it. Trustee Broughton?
What I hear Bonnie saying is that it would help us when we speak to the people in our area if we did know what counseling services were available and when. Those are never set in stone, and our counselors sort of flow back and forth. But we have reached out with some specialized counseling, some DSPS counseling and things in places that we were a little short before. So I think that would be good if we had a study session or a presentation.
But I also
of
want
that at
to
some
make
time.
sure that we have the right,
Yeah,
like
that's it,
numbers of
right, or the
counselors.
ratio.
So that they're not overworked or overburdened and students turned away. I make sure that they can get everything done.
I'm good.
Just so that we keep following up with our year-long study session, presentation agenda.
I love that rotating calendar that
So
we have.
we just need to get that more implemented. There's been a lot going on, and we all realize that. And so we're trying to get things up and running as best as we can, as quickly, but we're working on everything, and I think that shows. But we have a whole list of things that would actually address some of the topics we just talked about, but we just haven't gotten it all into gear yet.
Exactly, and like the conversation about counselors, that doesn't have to be next month. We can fit that into that session where
We talk about student
where we're
services.
planning to talk
Right.
about student services, so.
Chairman O'Neill, I just want to mention something that I've been observing in the whole Coachella Valley. We have all these academies throughout the high school that I want to see maybe a study session, how these awesome academies at the K through 12 and how we at COD could kind of just maybe a good, President Kinnaman, some suggestion on powering our academies and what we can do at COD to further that path of success with these great academies that happen throughout the Coachella Valley.
I think that'd be a wonderful workshop. That's something I'm very interested in.
And I think it's part of the agenda that's in progress
Okay.
with everyone. And the faculty senate and everyone is involved in that process. I
Right.
think it'd be great if we had that up. to
Because
this.
they're coming up, we have something going on with the new Performing Arts Academy. What could we do at COD to facilitate that and bringing these partnerships and pathways together?
I think the pathways, the linked learning, it's critical for us to examine that throughout K-14 and
K-
beyond.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
I don't have any other suggestions for agendas, but let's have board comments. Trustee Broughton will go the other way and come back around.
I was remiss earlier in the consent agenda. I always like to say thank you to those people that volunteer to this college. Your time and your experiences are one of the most valuable things that our students can receive. I also want to say thank you to the people from our community that donate items to us that we can use within our classes, our departments. We appreciate that. We appreciate being thought of. And although we do send a thank you letter to each of these people, I just want to acknowledge publicly that we appreciate the effort that people put into the community they feel, the connection that we have. So thank you to those people that give us their time or that give us these marvelous gifts.
Thank you. Trustee Stefan?
The only concern I have is that, unfortunately, my iPad wasn't cooperating this last month. But if there's some way that we could get a calendar, maybe at the meetings that states out the things that are coming up in the next month so that we have it in advance, so that we can put it on our personal calendars and try to attend more events. Because I know there's many great events, and I know the foundation, they look for us at those events. And so does the public. And when we're not there, they wonder, well, why aren't they there? So one of us needs to try to be at everything, but we need to know about them a little bit in advance sometimes.
I think that would be a good thing to add to the the newsletter that came out. I've suddenly gone blank on the name of it. The COD Matters newsletter. That's, if we could, look at that, projecting all the things
I know
coming
I
up.
try to look at the alumni's newspaper that they put out, but sometimes not everything's there. And when your mind's on something else, sometimes you forget something in the back of your head. Oh yeah, wasn't that the last night? Okay.
Trustee Sanchez Walton.
Well, I'm really looking forward for the Desert AIDS Walk on Saturday at 9 a.m. in Palm Springs. So looking forward to participate that in the community. Also want to give kudos to Jerry Brown. I wrote this in my Facebook. and wanted to publicly state how important SB 440 is now made into law, which focuses on the community college and its transfer rate for the 4-year, making student transfers from California community colleges to the California State University system more efficient and cost-effective and achievable. So looking forward maybe for a future study session on that, how this affects us here at COD. And I also want to still talk about our play tonight. Looking forward to attending Will Any Gentlemen. We have a lot of students that have been practicing very hard and looking forward to their performance here at COD. It's tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday, and then looking forward to attend the Gershwin and Friends. I want to thank who put that together. Who was the one that put together our theater trust? Who is the theater arts trust? Yeah, good job. Looking forward to that. Okay, thank you. Theater 2.
And Trustee Broughton had talked about volunteers, and just would like to recognize a small group of volunteers that do work for our College of the Desert Library, and that's the Friends of the COD Library. And they will be having their 14th annual fall book sale, October 25th through the 27th. It'll be held here at the Craven Center. Trustee Stefan is always
Don't bring my dog this year, right? He got
she
banned.
always buys a lot of books, which is great. And all the proceeds come back to the library here at COD. And another event that the Friends is doing is the Meet the Author and Book Signing, Thursday, November 7th at 3:30, introducing Arlene Morgan, the co-author of Roots of the Vines, and that'll be at Catalan Restaurant, Thursday, November 7th at 3:30. That's it, thank you.
Thank you. My comment I wanted to make is with regard, I already shared some of this with the president, but it seems this month I've been meeting a lot of people in the community who have concerns about our, and this is not me, I want to preface, this is not Michael O'Neill making a complaint, I'm just sharing information that I've heard, and about our students' abilities to access Blackboard and our website. I keep, in different places I go, I keep being presented the same concerns over and over and over again. And I just want to make sure that I know we're working on things. I know the Faculty Senate Ed Tech Committee's been working on stuff. But I just want everyone to know that this is a community issue. I've heard people are actually given a choice between taking an online class here and somewhere else. They're finding it easier to go to somewhere else. And I don't think that's good for us. We want to be the community's first choice. And I keep hearing the same issue. And I think we need, as a collectively, to address this issue. I've heard it a number, in addition to what I shared with the president, I've heard it a number of other times this month. Yes. And it's becoming to seem, I don't know if it's just because it's midterms, if that's what triggered all this, but I just thought I would bring it forward as a comment, something for us to look into. There are concerns about our website, our media, our programs not being always the most current, updating our systems and stuff like that. So I just thought I'd bring that forward so that we're all hearing it. And I know Doug and the Faculty Senate are working on it. But I want you to know that it isn't a community issue. And it is affecting our perception, how we're being perceived in the community. Okay.
But Blackboard is a standard in the online industry, so it's bound to be a problem that can fix. Carly goes to school on Blackboard every day. But it's a hybrid system. It's a system where she turns in written papers in what they call Dropbox, but it's not the program we might use as Dropbox. So there's got to be a resolution to this that makes it easier. Because an online class should indeed be easier. I don't mean the content should be watered down. I mean that it should be easy to take. Because that's why someone's taking an online class, is so they can do it when it works into their schedule. So I think it's an important issue to address. I think it's an issue we can solve.
I do too.
I'm sorry, I have one more item. I've received some comments from people in the community with regard to the lighting here at night. in the parking lot. And just, again, some concern with regard to the severe degree of lighting that's out there. It's really, you know, people are surprised when planes don't land. So I don't know if at some point, again, just wanting to bring that to the president's attention.
Are they passing by complaints, or are they neighbors' complaints? Do you know? I mean, is it
Both.
both? I haven't seen it at night lately, since it's gotten darker earlier.
I have, and I thought safety. I didn't think about how the light might bother someone, but when I happened to be here after dark a couple of weeks ago, it was like, oh my, I wouldn't be afraid to walk to my car at night,
Right.
or for my child to walk to her car at night. So that was the way I've seen the lighting, was like, oh wow, we're safe now.
But there's different kinds of lighting that you can have in place that doesn't have to be as severe.
Any other comments? Hearing none, we entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
We are adjourned. Thank you. See you in November.
And baby, you're so